Anton Angelov, you as a person who introduces psychology into his lectures.
Many great people that they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't know how to share it because they're afraid. In my lectures, the hardest thing is when you combine the knowledge of different spheres.
Is it important to be a good communicator, to have organizational skills, to fill in properly in the team?
I think it's really important for people to present what they do.
I think you covered the human aspect perfectly.
I really enjoyed this work because it's like I'm part of many other organizations at the same time.
Hi guys, I'm Anton Angelov, Infopulse's Communication Manager. Today, we're going to present to you the third episode of our post-time project. The topic of discussion will be QA automation, the Bulgarian IT market, leadership, and much more. Please enjoy. Hello everyone. Today, again, I have another special guest in the studio here with me. He's the CTO and co-founder of Automate the Planet Ltd, an international conference speaker, a published author, a 5-time nominee for Best QA in Bulgaria and respectively won the 2018 edition. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Anton Angelov.
Nice
Anton,
to meet you.
thank you for being here.
Sure.
How are you?
I'm a little bit sleepy, but I'm
Oh.
already with the coffees, so.
I believe we're going to have a nice conversation. We're going to wake each other up. How's the summer going so far?
The summer, you know, I was finishing my books, so
Wow,
we
we're gonna talk about that.
didn't have time a lot for vacations
Really?
because my wife is expecting and we cannot really travel abroad. We usually love to travel, but now we're stuck at home.
So you have another thing going on in your life, except work.
Yeah.
Here in front of me, we have a lottery game, and every bow inside is filled with a question. You pick a question, hand it over to me, I ask you, and then we begin the discussion.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yours is the honor. Let's pick this. Thank you. Well, orange today, I guess, is the color. Do you think one can better realize their potential if the company is big rather than small?
It really depends. Usually when I do speeches for recommending how people to realize their potential in the QA sphere, I usually think that for some people, it depends on the character. It might be useful to be in a big company at the beginning.
Yeah.
This was my journey. I was part of Telerik, then Progress.
Big companies.
Big companies, and back then they, you know, teach me the right processes, and I met the right people. This is one way. Sometimes when the company is smaller, for example, if it's a consulting business as my own, when you are surrounded with the top stars in the sphere, then again you can learn really fast many things. So you can do it both ways.
Do you think that maybe in a smaller company you get the chance to be a little bit more active, let's say, to get more practice rather than just theory? Or maybe you can get that both ways again from a bigger company?
It really depends on the team and what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because there are many smaller companies where probably you won't be able to really have the career growth opportunities, right? But there are other companies where if there are enough projects, enough people, and the right set of conditions where you can grow, this can be done.
Yeah.
And sometimes in bigger companies, I saw the opposite, where you're stuck in one team for 5-6 years, you're doing the same thing over and over again. I'm not saying that all of the companies are like this, but this was one of the reasons at some point when I decided to leave my past company and move to something else.
I think a good way for me, for example, it's a good way to start, let's say in a big company, just to see the environment, just to see how this big corporation functions, how it works. Of course, spend some time, a little bit time there, and then maybe, as you did, if you're ready for the next step, become your own self and maybe start something on your own as well.
Yeah, you know, in my work as a consultant, I really enjoyed this work because it's like I'm part of many other organizations at the same time, and I see all of the processes, all of the people, how they work, and this was part of my dream actually, because this is like you have much more growth opportunity, and you see how different people in different countries, how they work.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
I think we covered that topic.
Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. And the second question for Anton is, what level of seniority should a specialist have to understand your lectures? Can anybody attend your lecture? It's not for everybody, for sure. It's not for me.
It depends on the lecture.
Yeah.
In the past, when I began to give lectures, they were a little bit more technical and for more senior people. When we created the company with the other co-founder, Martin, I usually, give much more technical, really hardcore lectures where just a few people understood from the public. But actually, my blog back in the past, where give the name of the company, I was explaining some really tough topics in a more easy way for people to understand. Yeah, right. So with the experience of public speaking and teaching, etc., I started to try to put less material in my lectures and to explain them to be more accessible to people, right?
Understood.
And right now, with the popularity and everything, on many different events and conferences, they actually invite me to give more, for example, how to start QA career,
Of course, from the beginning.
For the beginning, and more social themes like moral values, etc. So yeah. And this means that actually, especially when you give like a keynote, many often you cannot be really hardcore technical stuff. You need to be more general topic.
Which one do you enjoy more? Let's say, do you enjoy more explaining? For example, I'm attending a lecture for beginners. Do you feel like a little bit more fulfilled when you're explaining the beginning steps of the process, or are you enjoying more the hardcore lectures with people that are already specialists?
They both have like
pros and cons,
different flavor. Maybe I prefer the more challenging topics. For example, because the technical topics, I spoke at more than maybe 50 conferences worldwide.
Wow.
So
and not only in Bulgaria, worldwide. So
across the world. It's easy for me to create a technical talk, right? With the presentation and everything, I can do it in one day now.
Yeah.
But when it's a more a general topic that needs to be more abstract and to explain it in easy and accessible way for people with the right imagery and the right way that they understand what you want to say, it's really hard. For example, maybe this year will be my hardest talk ever, that I was preparing for almost a year for the speech. People are not doing even that, but there are many books. If I show you my bookshelf on some of my lectures
I've
and
seen
videos, it's really huge. And I think in my lectures, the hardest thing is when you combine the knowledge of different spheres, like psychology, sociology, history, and all of that.
So it's not only one way street, you try to cover different aspects so you can keep this so-called attention span, which, as we know nowadays.
Yeah.
Hello guys, I have a special task for the most loyal post-time viewers. I need you to count how many times has our brand name, Infopulse, been mentioned during the whole second season. Whoever gets this right will receive a special secret box from me at the end of the year. Are you familiar with the so-called imposter syndrome? And could you give some advice on how to manage it?
Like more than 10 years ago, when I was giving my first lecture, I was actually teaching in Telerik QA Academy. I felt this way because sometimes you are afraid that someone in the public will going to question whether you are right or wrong, and it will say something bad about you in front of so many people. And actually, as you know, when you need to speak in front of a public, this is one of the biggest fears of all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I was a little bit afraid. Always you had this feeling inside of you that something may go wrong, which is totally fine. I mean, like, I think 4 or 5 years ago, during one of the biggest conferences here in Bulgaria, is the conference. I was giving a big speech, and for the first time, I haven't felt this way. And I was, wow, maybe I started doing this professionally.
Yeah.
Because I did like more than 10 conferences this year.
Oh, that's experience.
Yeah, and this was like the last one, and it was in November, and it was crazy. But in order to overcome this fear, because I think there are many great people in Bulgaria and abroad that they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't know how to share it because they're afraid. And my advice here is that so the first thing is to acknowledge that you have this fear and that you're not pro. I mean, in order to give lectures, this is like a totally different sphere knowledge, how to do it properly, to be a speaker.
Yeah.
It's like the same to be an author, to be a writer. There are many other things that you need to know to do it well. Initially I went to 4 different courses about public speaking. It was like maybe half a year, 1 year in the long run, each week of trainings, etc., to give speeches. And even in the first level, we were training first to write the speech, but you're not imagining slides or screens or whatever. You just need to do the speech. And it was really hardcore in level 2 because we had to go to the subway.
Okay.
Go on top of a bench and do a speech in front of all of these people from the trains.
You're gonna attract
on the fly. Yeah. And when you do that, you need to learn how to speak in a time box.
Yeah.
And I'm always timing what I'm going to say. I train it in front of the mirror, or you can record it yourself on a camera and see how you behave.
Preparation to the dot.
Exactly. But you need to be ready for everything because always something bad happen during.
Have you had any unforeseen situation like that?
Many.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the most bright one is the first time when I went to India. I spoke there in maybe one of the most famous test automation conferences, Selenium Conf. It was in Bangalore. But from here, you need to travel. It was like a really long flight. Like the whole journey was almost 20 hours or so, even more. Because you need to go to Germany, from Germany to Doha, from Doha to India. And then I was there like in 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
But a really huge time difference, like 4 hours.
Jet lag.
Or so. Jet lag. So I had to sleep like 2 hours. And then on the next day, I had to give my speech. And there was really amazing hotel. There are no hotels like this here. It was really cheap, but it was there. They were, when I went there, they give you fresh towels to clean, give you a fresh juice, etc.
Which minute you're like, wow.
And I was wow when you have a person who is knocking on your door in the morning and gives you a newspaper.
Oh, wow.
And he was knocking on my door on the second day, and I was looking at my clock, and it was saying 6 o'clock. And I was, why he's knocking so early? What happened? And he was, Mister, you are going late for your lecture. And I was really shocked.
With a newspaper?
No, they called him from the conference.
Oh, okay.
And I just overslept, and my alarm was set, but for my time in Bulgaria, for some reason, I don't know, or I didn't hear it. And I had 15 minutes to, put my shirt, to test the lectures and everything, to drink coffee. And
wow,
it was really stressful.
I can imagine.
And I always, when I go abroad, it's not like in Europe. If you go in Europe, it's fine because usually the mobile plans, they're the same everywhere. You have the fastest internet, everything. But like 5 years ago, this wasn't the case. And in India, you don't have internet. You have like something, maybe some shady Wi-Fi in the hotel, but
shady.
It's shady because I'm, keen on security and everything. And you will be afraid with like 500 people there,
Yeah.
IT specialists to connect to the public Wi-Fi
Yeah.
in the hotel. This is like no row in every security lecture. But I didn't have the time to get a SIM card because on their airport they have all of the guns and tanks and everything, and you're like, there's no place to buy a SIM card.
Yeah.
And my whole lecture, it was about demonstrating how to, for example, execute so many tests on different virtual machines, but you need to have a really strong internet connection because I was planning to do it live. And when I went there the first day, the internet was so terrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't connect anywhere. So I stayed up to 4 a.m. in the morning to try to using a VPN to record a video of the whole demo using their Wi-Fi. And it was so terrible. I managed to do it, and I explained like using the video during the conference day, but there were these two things, like it was super hard.
I can imagine.
I always have like 5 backups of my presentation because always, by rule, when you connect your laptop, it's not projecting the correct way. The first time when I was in Kiev doing a conference, like there was 30 minutes preparation, none of the laptops were working on the multimedia. I don't know why. And someone from the public gave me his laptop to present there. And then, or for example, the PowerPoint pointer is not working.
Yeah.
And I always have like 2 pointers. I have 2 mouses. I have like backup laptop. I have backup shirt. Like I have my presentation in PowerPoint, in Google Slides, in PDF and in images. And I have them on a flash drive, on a second flash drive, and in the drive online. So, and when you have that, you feel a little bit better, calmer, and then you can start speaking.
Okay, so I think you're prepared enough for everything. All right, let's move on with the next one. Next question. Okay, besides test case executions, what types of test activities have you automated?
Okay, I will tell you a funny story from the past. It was in my initial years as a specialist, but I was really keen on this type of automated testing, right? And in my free time, I really like to create different tools, so to say, to automate everything.
Yeah.
This is why my company is called Automate the Planet and the blog.
Yeah.
But back then there was this football World Cup.
Yep.
And all of my colleagues, they were really football big fans, etc. They were always talking about this, etc. It was really fun. My team was responsible. Part of our job was to test and verify the forums of the company.
Okay.
And back then, the company was really popular around here and around the globe, etc. Because of it, as you know, SEO, it's important to have backlinks to other top sites, right? And there was this era back then, because it wasn't popular. It was just getting started, all of this test automation stuff. Back then, before that, everything was manual. Then there were these spammers, but in automated way. They were creating accounts and they were posting on the forum about betting websites, about the matches, and always probably just to be targeted to the search engines. And this was really terrible for the company because we had, I think, maybe 100 support engineers, and instead of answering tickets, they were just going to the forum to delete all of the threads. But this was happening the whole time during the World Cup. And for 1 week, they were, instead of answering clients, because they have to answer in...
They were watching the games.
Not watching the games, but they were searching and deleting all of these threads. It was really terrible. And back then, this was a new problem. It wasn't so popular that there was this big spam, etc. There was this spam solutions, but it was going to take, like, for example, at least 1 week to my team to integrate these new spam solutions into our system, to test it correctly, to see that everything is working. And back then, I created a bot that was fighting other bots. It was going to the system, but through the UI. And it was searching for all of these spam words, etc., and it was deleting all of the threads. And they were really happy, like, because we freed them to be able to do their job, like the support engineers. Because of that, in the end, they bring us a big cake as a gratitude for what we did back then with our bots.
May I ask for the year, which you said back in the day was more manual?
It was maybe 10 years ago or
10
something.
years ago, yeah. So probably Germany won the World Cup.
I guess, yeah.
Or Spain, yeah. Well, that's a hell of a situation, I think. All right, let's move on with the next one. You run your blog. Does anyone help you promote it? Is it hard work to publish an article every week? Well,
for some time, you know, the last maybe a year or two, while I was working on the books, I didn't really have the time to write articles, but I was recording videos.
Yeah.
Because I decided at some point that videos are the new format, because people are reading less and less and the blogs are almost dead. And this is why maybe for the past almost 2 years, I recorded more than 50 videos. So I'm doing almost each week a new video, and it's much harder to do the video instead of just writing. But again, when I have the time, a free time, I was working on the books.
Yeah.
But before that, I was there more than 300 or more articles on the website. So I was doing it each week. And this made me who I am, maybe part of it. It's hard. I mean, I did it most of the time during the weekends and during the nights, etc. To do it at the beginning. I was trying different techniques, but I went to courses, for example, for SEO and for different optimizations plugins. This is how I learned about performance and how to do these performance optimizations. Then you learn techniques for the writing and the SEO, and then the website started to be always first in the search engines. And this is how it got really popular. Then I learned social marketing, and actually about the social marketing, this was back to your previous question about the automation. This was one of my first stuff that I automated. Even I created, it's not a bot, but it's like a tool where I put all of the articles. I connected to one of IoT websites that it's connecting different applications and hardware devices. And with some code, the thing that it does is that it's doing all of the social marketing, the hashtagging, and for example, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, G+, and all of that, is doing it automatically a few times a day. So this was another thing that I automated, and it was really great. Right now, now it's popular. Instead of having this email marketing that I did in the past, I'm doing this LinkedIn newsletter with all of the articles from the last week that are really popular in the field, and I'm sharing and explaining them to the people.
Let's mention a little bit. DZone's most valuable blogger with more than 3 million views. Your website, one of the most viewed in the top 10 in the world. So time management also. How do you time manage all of that, may I ask? As you said, sometimes you write or you record during the night. You also work on your books, family time.
I think one important quality, not only about the soft skills and the hard skills, is this time management. And this was something that I was really curious about during my initial years of my career, is the time management and how to sleep properly. There's recover, train, and all that. Everything is connected. I mean, it's connected how you sleep, how you train, how you eat, and everything else that is going on in your life. And as I said, all of these books and knowledge in different areas, all of them are important. Otherwise, I know enough people that are really good programmers, really good technical specialists, but they're just interested just in that. And when you go to a table with them on a lunch or dinner or whatever, you cannot speak with them. They don't have stories, they haven't traveled, they don't have other interests, right? And it's just boring.
And right now, we have a secret question from our technical expert.
Hello, my name is Oleksii Ostapov. I am head of test automation subpractice at Infopulse. And I've got a question for you. Have you ever calculated the return of investments of test automation? Which activities did you include and how often did your test automation prove to be generally profitable?
This is an interesting question.
Particular one,
Yeah, it really depends on the project. Maybe there are different ways how you can measure that. And I think, like when we were talking about soft skills, I think it's really important for people to present what they do in their day-to-day activities at some point. Not every day, but at some point. And I think this is what differentiates successful engineers from others. It's always just to promote what you do. It's the same with the teams and with our work. And this is especially important for my company. When we do work for clients, we need to do some kind of presentations at some point and show the return of investment and what are the benefits and all of that. In some projects, people prefer to measure code coverage, which is how much of the application we covered with the tests. I don't really like this particular metric because I can cover it. For example, I can not fake the numbers, but I can write a few tests and mimic the numbers to be the right numbers, but it doesn't mean that we did our job the right way. Anyway, we do it when clients want it, and we strive to do it in the best way possible. This is one way. But I think the best way to show the benefits of the automated testing is when they start to catch problems, issues, bugs, etc. And when, for example, in one of our clients, we already use the automated tests for different things to verify the success of the releases, that there are no regression bugs. We, for example, when they want to migrate their whole applications in a different data center, we have these special data recovery tests that are checking that everything was fine during the migration. We have, for example, automated tests for sometimes for some companies to show to the clients that actually this product is a very high quality and how we do it, with what systems, how truly this is, etc. How many bugs we caught, etc. So this is another way how you can show the benefits. But you need to be able to present this in front of the right people. You need to find the right people in this organization. Whether, for example, if you are a QA in a big company, then you need to probably do the presentation in front of your QA manager, but not only because he knows what you are doing, but you need to probably do the presentation in front of developer team leads and maybe product managers, project managers, etc. All of these stakeholders that they're responsible for your salary and benefits and all of that they give you your job. And it's a little bit different with companies like mine, where this is our job. We need to do it in front of the clients so that they know for what they give their money, right? In order to negotiate the next contract and etc.
Perfect. Well, I think we answered our technical expert perfectly. All right, let's move on with the next one. How did you get the idea to create your own frameworks? BELLATRIX. There's a difference between the frameworks.
Mesa is not a framework, but a runner, but a test runner. Well, part of my job before as QA architect was to do exactly this in my past company. To write and maintain this type of framework. Just for the audience, for someone who don't know what is a test automation framework, this is just a set of tools and libraries combined to enable our job to write easily automated tests for a website, for mobile applications, for desktop, etc. Many people, they think that they wrote a framework, but they don't really know what this actually means. But when during the time when I started to teach, I also started to consult different businesses outside of work. And then I started to do it full time after I left my past company. And many companies started to want from me to write this type of framework for them. But as you can imagine, if you have 5 clients and they want to do the same thing, it's like, why you do it? I mean, you can write it once and then just reuse it and then support it just one time instead of reinventing the wheel every time. And I was really furious when I understood that many of these, there are other companies that are, because their business model is the following, they are changing on time. And because they're changing for hours, every time they're writing from scratch, everything. But I was, come on, I don't want to lie. I mean, I can write it once and then you can just give me money for something else instead of just lying that I'm writing every time. I have a moral problem with that. So this is why I decided that I want to write the best possible thing one time and then to use it across different projects and clients, etc.
What is the difference between the frameworks which you're working on right now?
There is just one framework, but it's written in different programming languages because different companies, they use different technologies. For example, one organization uses Microsoft technology stack with their language C#. Others are using, for example, Java and Oracle-based stuff. Another are using JavaScript. So these are like totally different technologies, so to say. And usually when we integrate these solutions into these companies, we provide some experts. They're doing the hard job. But usually part of our job is to teach their existing team of test automation engineers to write the tests, maintain them, and be able to do that. But in order to be successful, usually we try to use the same technology stack as the company. Because when we are not around or when we build the solution, we want also their development teams to be able to support the whole thing, to embrace it. If it's written in different technologies, it's a little bit harder, you understand? And this is why we have the same framework for different languages.
Perfect, Anton. I think we cover not only for experts, but only for beginners who just want to enter this world right now. So, perfect. All right, let's move on to the next question. Tell us a little bit more about the new book series dedicated to the in-depth understanding of automated testing. Automated Testing Unleashed, the complete handbook.
Sure, thank you for the question. You know, this is when you start working, because we were talking about focus, right? And with the time when I was creating this video content and the articles and all the conference talks, usually with the time you want to say more and more, right? And you start thinking in bigger formats. And for example, right now, as we discussed previously, for me, it's not enough just to write a single blog post. It's just too short. Nowadays, I prefer to record, for example, 30 or 40 minutes video. Then probably I will touch most of the stuff that I want to explain. But again, it's not enough. Even in a conference talk, the time is not enough to explain everything. As we discussed, in order to be a great engineer, it's not enough just to visit like 20 hours course, right? It's just not enough. And my biggest problem during my career was that in our sphere, there are just too little technical books about this new field. We have this huge problem where, again, there are many CVs, but actually they're not good enough because they had just one course, 20 hours, and they think they are ready because someone confused them that this is enough. But as we discussed, this is not enough. And even in some of the universities here, for example, Softuni, they have a really great program right now, maybe the greatest, and Telerik QA Academy as well. But again, even after these courses, it's also, it depends. For example, people need to read more outside of the courses to learn. That I think that people need to understand to be a great engineers. And one book, it's not enough. This turned out, and this is why there are 5 of them. But I didn't want to release them one by one because they're connected. I mean, you cannot be a great engineer just with one of them or just with the third one. You need to understand how to program. You need to understand how, for example, the websites are working behind the scenes. How, for example, to write JavaScript. How to really learn how to automate websites. But now the world is much more complicated. The projects are much more complicated. And for example, most of the projects that we are part of, there is not just a website.
Yeah.
There is a website, there are 2 mobile apps, there are like stuff in the cloud. Then you have other tools that are integrated with the whole solution for displaying the results and executing the tests nightly or on virtual machines. And it's enormous
Complex.
amount of complex work that you need to understand in a set of languages and technologies. And in order to be a really great engineer, you need to understand how things works. And this is what I'm trying to teach people.
You mentioned the gap in the education system, in the educational system when it comes to making the engineer a good one. Can you elaborate a little bit what the gap is and what exactly are these academies missing?
It's this culture of fast results. People don't have the focus, and then they want really fast to start switching professions, or they really want really quick to begin to get their IT job, right? And of course, the people that are making these courses, they cannot sell. For example, if I create a 2-year program, nobody probably will sign up for it, because people think that if there is a course for for example, 2 months, then why I need to learn 2 years for that? Why? I can get this money or a salary for even less. And of course, 2-year program will cost much more compared to 20 hours course, right? So it's this mixture between money and time. And always these people that they heard that our profession, the QA or whatever, it's easier than programmers. It really depends what you do. You can be like super average and probably begin somewhere. Probably with the time you will get a decent salary, but you won't be great. You will be just super average. If you see that you're not good enough yet, you need to spend time solving some technical challenges at home. You need to read some books to refresh your memory on the topics that you heard during the lectures and the courses. I'm saying that. Hi guys, I have an interesting proposition for you. As you know, I'm recording each week different technical videos, and I have an ask for you. Put it in the comments below the topic that you want to record, and the best topic that I choose, you will receive my 5 new books, signed copies, as a token of appreciation.
So, you have countless awards. Which one of them was the most desired for you, and which was the most unexpected? Well, that's what, when you're thinking, that means you have too many.
You know, when I started my blog and the books and everything, my mother always asked me, okay, but what this give you? I mean, but she was talking about the money or something, right? And I was always trying to explain to her that I was started doing the blog not about the money or anything. I didn't have the idea that I will have a company. I didn't start to, give conference talks or to write books about the money. It's not about that. It's about giving, right? And it was not about, I was not doing all of these things to get some awards. Actually, all of the times someone nominated me or whatever, it was because I was sharing everything I know with the community. And there were not so many people, almost nobody is writing articles or recording videos. They're like literally here in Bulgaria, there are 2-3 people, right? There are not so many people. And this is why maybe the most surprising, and I didn't know that even this award it exists. Maybe they did it for me, I don't know. But on the latest QA Challenge Accepted, this huge QA conference here, they gave me this award for overall contribution. After 5 sequential years of nomination about the QA award, etc., this meant a lot to me, because it's like appreciation for this additional time that I put to bring the community up and all of these standards, and it was a surprise because I didn't know about it.
All right, let's move on with the next one. How do you choose the topics for your talks? And have you had any unforeseen situations?
I already told you about one
Yeah.
unforeseen situation.
Which was more than unforeseen, I guess.
Yeah, there were many. As I told you, every time there is a situation. During the travel or during the conference itself, there is always a problem with laptops, connectors, etc.
Yeah.
But when you are fully prepared, it's fine. You
Yeah.
always find a way. So this is not a problem. But yeah, regarding the topics, many people that are just getting started with public speaking and sharing knowledge, they do the same mistake as me. They try to, in their lectures, they try to put so much information, technical stuff,
Yeah.
that many often it's not important. It's more important the idea, not the actual implementation. The actual implementation, someone can, for example, download the source code and
Yeah.
check it by himself, etc. It's more about the idea and to present it in a more interesting way. So this is my advice. I mean, if you need to choose topic, the easiest way is just open 10 different conference websites.
Yeah.
You can see the different topics. I'm not saying repeat the same thing, but you need to have this flavor of catchy title. You need to present it in a funny way, so to say. There are many rules about how to do, as we spoke about how to prepare, there are other rules what to include in your presentation to be catchy and interesting, etc., and meaningful to people.
Yeah. So, and you as a leader, how do you implement the rules when it comes to automate the planet? Is it mandatory to come to the office?
Most of the time, it was really hard during the COVID because we were not coming here. It was closed. And back then we decided when was allowed, at least one a month, to gather together for 2 days and work from a co-working space or somewhere else and have some team building activities. And we continue to do that.
Yeah.
Because we have some employees in Varna, in Burgas, in Plovdiv, in Pleven. So there are some people that are working outside of Sofia. For them, this is not mandatory, but they need to come at least 2 days a month to socialize with everyone. And the rest that are in Sofia, mainly we work hybrid, which means that at least 3 to 4 times it's necessary to come to the office. And sometimes it's fine to stay at home, especially in Friday or something.
Yeah.
But for interns, usually it's mandatory to come always to the office until they learn the work ethic, right? To be on time and all of that.
So now I'm thinking when you're speaking about this, the fact that you're making people come twice a month to socialize, to be part of the team. In Infopulse, for example, involvement and inclusion is extremely important. But not only involvement and inclusion and diversity, but quality. Find the right people to fit into the team. Can you add a little bit on that? How important is that?
It's really important. For me, we have the same policy for diversity. And I really don't care, of the age or the gender of the people. We have all kinds of people working for us.
Yeah.
And if they're following the right moral and work ethics, if they during the interviews I'm checking that.
Yeah.
And during this trial period at the beginning, we're seeing whether we fit together, right? Whether they have these things that I'm talking about in the talk, they're important to me. They need to have the same values as us. Otherwise, we're not a fit.
Yeah.
So this is one side where we need to see whether this work ethics, business ethics, they have it, and moral values. Then, of course, the technical skills. This is totally different thing that, from maybe 50 people, we have 3 interviews. From 3 interviews, maybe we'll hire 1.
Yeah.
But this is the type of work that we do. As a consultants, we need to be always better than the organization that we're consulting.
Yeah.
So that's normal, and this is why we have a little bit higher standards on this technical stuff. And it's not only about knowledge. For example, just quoting me theorem about programming or whatever, because some people have this knowledge, but when they try to apply it in a practical way in a task, this is a problem for them. And this is why usually during interviews I'm giving this mental simulations of what we do at work, just to do it in front of me. And I usually artificially put some pressure during the interview just to see how the people were starting to behave. There were cases when some of the people get really angry or something, or frustrated, and they started on the 5th minute to tell me, why are you asking me this the 3rd time? And I'm saying, I'm asking you because the first time you didn't answer, and I give you some tips, hidden tips, how to solve it the right way, because the first time it wasn't the right way. But if you're frustrating on the 5th minute when you start do that, how it will be at work? For sure, when you're junior or at the internship, for sure there will be like, this will happen constantly. This is not okay for me. You need to trust me that when I say something, there is a reason for that. And I'm not saying it just to, during the interviews on purpose. I'm not going to be fighting with someone or saying something on loud tone. I'm saying it politically in the most calm possible way, but some people are just frustrated that they don't know the answer.
Probably,
This is how I challenge them.
Understood. We covered a lot of material today, and we also touched some things on a personal level. And one last question coming from me: give some information to our viewers, to our listeners, something, 3, 4, 5 things that they don't know about you. How do you like to, let's say, blow off steam? What do you do on your weekends? How do you spend some time with the family?
Okay. One of the things is that when I feel the pressure and the stress, one of the things that for 10 years or more I really like, I like running.
Okay.
And I go to the, near our office is the National Academy of Sports. And they have this really great stadium for running. And this is my place. Perfect. I just put the music on. And I like running, and there is this exercises there that you can do, like street fitness. This is my way for getting the steam off, right? This is the first thing that I really like. It's like meditation for me. Perfect. The second thing that it's like my hobby, mostly. You saw my bookshelf. It's really huge. On rare occasions, of course, I read technical literature really fast. Usually when I get a technical book, I just need a few days to read it. But I prefer more other topics. Like, for example, psychology. I have, I don't know, many books. Erich Fromm, Freud, and Jung, others. And other topics like history, sociology, many different variety of topics. And I like to watch such documentaries and reading all of these books. And usually I'm doing this during the weekends and during my vacation. Even when I go to the seaside with my wife, I really don't go to the water. Not because it's polluted or something. I just like to go on the beach bar, open a book, drink a coffee, and read books. That's my thing. And when I got married, we bought a house. So in the house, there is a new hobby, which I got into the repairs. And I got into the gardening. So we had not huge, but big garden. So I need to take care of a lot of plants. So these are all new skills. You need to learn all of the poisons that you need to pour on the trees. Then you need to find how to cut the grass then you need to understand how to drill a well and all of this type of stuff. So it's totally different thing than normally. So
perfect. So Anton, we definitely had a great chat here today, and again, thank you for being here. And as a token of my appreciation, I'd like to present you with a small gift. And hopefully you use it well, especially now in the summertime, can be useful. I'm sure that we brought some value to our listeners.
I hope so.
And you definitely have so much to offer, and I look forward to be present at your speeches, continue to learn more. I'll definitely buy some of the books that you have coming out. So thank you for being here with me.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure talking to you.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.